Welcome back to part 2 in this series of videos where I was initially assessing this Bernina Nova electronic 900 sewing machine. And if you've seen the last episode, the what was going to be a quick assessment video turned into a bit of a repair video. There's a bit of a catch-22 with this machine in the fact that although it's set to zigzag mode, you'll see there that the needle is stuck in the right hand side of its throw, and the needle bar can be manually pushed over there, but as soon as it goes to its right hand throw of the zigzag, it jams in that position there. And you may have also seen that the faceplate here affected this situation. So if I remove the faceplate here just quickly, sometimes the machine will zigzag. So it's zigzagging as it should now with the faceplate removed. So something's going on with this area here. So this bearing here allows the needle bar to move sideways but not back and forward, and if this bearing surface is clamping too tightly on here, it's going to stop the machine from zigzagging. And the other thing that can cause this bearing surface here to bind up is if the this needle bar carrier, this dark piece of metal here, is not vertical, completely vertical, and it's slightly kinked, either slanted this way or slanted that way, can cause binding here. So there's several things going on here that could cause this problem. The sort of catch-22 situation that I had was that this needle here should be going down this hole centrally here. If we look, we're looking side on here, so we're talking front to back, and you can see that the needle's actually closer to the front of the hole than what it is the back. And if I line the needle bar carrier up so that the needle does go down the center of this hole, it actually binds up on this bottom bearing here. I'm wondering whether, maybe if I release a little bit of tension here, maybe this piece here, this bar here is bent. The other option, if this doesn't work out, and I'm not sure if I'll go through it in this video, is that this arm here and this section here of the machine, they're independent of each other as such. They're bolted through up under here, bolted through there, and so if I can't get this to work out here, well then it's probably going to be a matter of loosening the bolts up in here that join these two pieces together, this lower arm here and this top arm here, and to kink those and align them properly so that it allows this needle to go down centrally through the hole here and this needle bar carrier not to bind up. That's the plan for this one, but as I say, I won't go into realigning these two parts in this video. Hopefully we can get something out of this here. The other thought I had was maybe if this plate here, which holds the throat plate here, could be moved back or forward independently, but in looking further at it, it's not really possible because there's a little pin here that goes into a hole up in this plate, and that's not adjustable. As far as I can see, that's not adjustable. It goes into this little hole here. So the first thing I'd like to do is centralize the needle in the throat plate hole. You would have seen in part 1, if you've watched that, how to do this adjustment to centralize the needle. It's just a matter of loosening a screw here and adjusting the needle bar carrier back or forward here. So it tilts the needle bar really, so that centralizes the needle down in the hole there. So I'll do that, we'll get that centralized, and then we'll more than likely see that it's bound up again. So if we get that, loosen the screw here, we should be able to gently push that. Let's have a close look at the alignment here now. We can see now that the needle is fairly well centralised in the hole there. But the problem we'll have now is that that would have caused this here to bind up again. That is extremely tight here. I don't know whether we'll get enough out of this to actually allow that to move freely. So one of my thoughts was that maybe this, just by loosening this here, if those two pieces are being pulled together somehow by this bar, because maybe it's bent, let's just remove this bar to get it out of the equation here. In fact, we can test it just like that. That's extremely tight. So adjusting this needle bar carrier so that the needle goes down the center of the hole here causes this to bind severely. Unfortunately, you know, my thoughts of this here being a problem and pulling these pieces together hasn't turned out. So it looks to me as though this part here and this part here are misaligned slightly. So I think it'll be a matter of aligning the needle bar carrier so that it returns on its own. So let's see, that's in its free position, so it's freely returning there. That's what we want. But let's just nip this screw up, just leave that loose at the moment. Let's have a close look and just see how far out we are here. We're pretty close to the front of the throat plate hole there. We've got a lot of clearance at the back. You know, that's not good enough really. That needle needs to be more central. So, you know, this really needs realignment. Because the realignment of these two parts is a reasonable job, you know, there's a bit of time involved, I think what I'll do is I'll have a look at the other machine and see, you know, the other machine that I had for the assessment here, I picked up two of them, and see whether it is in a better position mechanically to revive that machine. I know it's missing some electrical parts, so it's pretty unlikely that I'll be able to get two good machines out of the two that I've got. So what I think I'll be tempted to do is take a look at the other machine and see whether it's got any issues as far as the mechanicals go, and if not, well then maybe I'll swap the electrics from this machine and into that one. So let's take a wee look at the state of the other machine and see whether that's possible. So let's take a look at this machine and see whether it's a better contender for reviving without too much work. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, a case. Oh. The case is broken, completely split. We've got the power board here. This might be okay, but there's the capacitor that is blowing there. This is the capacitor that blows in them. It's not uncommon. You get capacitors like this blowing in all sorts of machines, but these capacitors are especially bad. They're a reefer brand. They seem to be blowing up at about this age. So you can see there that it's completely split. So that would have gone with a bang and a whole lot of smoke and stink. Yeah, but maybe this board's okay. It's just a matter of replacing that capacitor. So we've got another foot controller. As I said in the last video, they can be quite hard to find. And the first thing I will check this time is the zigzagging, and it looks fine. Yep, that's zigzagging there. It's looking good. And let's have a wee look at the needle centralisation there. That one seems close to the front as well. Maybe that's just how these machines are. I mean, it's not hitting the front. There is clearance there, which is, I mean, you just need clearance. But it just seems to me that, you know, I would have thought that that would go down the centre of that hole. Maybe that's just how these Bernina 900s are. Maybe they do, you know, out of the factory, maybe they just are like this, with that needle not fully central down the hole. Maybe it's designed that way. So maybe that other machine is okay. You know, maybe I'll just run with that. But anyway, while we're here, let's have a quick look at this machine. This cover here is just loose there. Some screws fell out of the accessory tray, so they'll be the mounting screws probably for this here. The motor is loose. I don't know if I have all the screws. That's one thing. So the gears that I pointed out in part one, probably it's referring probably to those, I'd say. But let's take the lid off and have a quick look. Yeah, this machine probably won't be a goer if those cogs are worn. They probably could be replaced. I think you can still get parts for them. That gear seems okay. I don't know, it seems fine to me. I mean, yeah, maybe there is a little bit of wear on them, but it's not bad. Small amount of wear. The other vertical shaft drive gear looks okay. Yeah, I'm wondering whether this machine might be okay, apart from obviously the electrics. If I can find the screws, mounting screws, I'll remove this capacitor here. We might be able to resurrect it. I was just having a look in the accessory tray, and the motor mounts and whatnot are there still, so that's promising. I'm not sure of the state of the motor, but we can check that out. That's the vibration isolation rubbers, one either side there, spring-loaded motor mount screws there, some of the other little screws. So we might have enough to make maybe 2 good machines. So we'll call this the second machine, because it's the second one I looked at. So I think what I'll do is I'll start on machine number 2 here, and then maybe in a later video I'll move on to machine number 1 and see if we can get both of these machines resurrected.